Diddygate continues here on Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. I'm here with It's Kim. We are live, and there's some updates today. We went live special because I wanted to talk about this latest allegation, lawsuits coming in, along with audio tapes from this yacht experience that this woman's claiming, an employee, that Diddy's own son, King Combs, SA'd her during a yacht party. She not only details it in the suit, which we're going to read through NBC News, but NBC claims to have heard the audio, and it's not a good look. Now, what's interesting, though, about this case and why I wanted to go live and have a longer conversation, which we'll do here on our full show, as well as the most we can here, become a Patreon member. You can always catch our full streams if you miss them. What's interesting about this case, Kim, is the lawyer behind this suit against King is the same lawyer who's representing Rodney Jones. Now, that lawyer is up for some debate. There's now been a grievance letter that's been sent against him saying that this guy has done this multiple times where he's basically trying to shake people down for settlements. He has not done all the legal precedents he's supposed to. And now we got a whole judge's report coming in, smashing this guy and his credibility. And it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I got to be honest. And the case Rodney had, the suit itself was very sloppy. I've had multiple lawyers tell us that. And so this is the problem. The Rodney Jones case and now this case against Diddy's son, we got to look at it a little bit more carefully because there is some fair pushback that it's not very reputable. And to add to that, I want to talk about this again later, but just to tip it off, according to TMZ and the sources I'm seeing, the feds have not talked to Rodney Jones. So that tells you a lot. There's a reality where the Rodney Jones case and maybe even this one against his son could be nothing burgers. But clearly the feds don't care. They're focused on Cassie and other women, more women potentially than we even realize. So just because this goes away, maybe the lawyer's doing some shenanigans, doesn't take away from the criminal investigation that the feds are doing. I want to make that clear as we go through. Because there's a situation here, Kim, where Diddy could try to say this as a victory, right? Like, see, Rodney was just trying to shake me down. That's what they're all trying to do. I told you it was a witch hunt. There's always one bad apple in the mix potentially, and that could be this. Some of it could be true. We don't know, but I wanted to make sure you had that whole picture before we go through this because I don't like to bring kids into it. He's now an adult, so it's not like he's a kid, but still now they're bringing in Diddy's kid, and there is a version of this Rodney Jones lawyer where he's been threatening that he was gonna do it. It does this part of it does feel a little shaky where it's like, come on, file criminal suits then. What is this weird like public brawl you're doing? Let's go through what's alleged. It does seem pretty damning and they have evidence, which makes me look at this a little bit more differently, but let's go through. Okay. Read as much as I can safely for YouTube standards. But as we know, all the things that Sean Diddy Combs is already facing, there's now a new suit going against his son, King. In the suit filed Thursday, Superior Court Grace O. Murkai, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, alleges that Christian King Combs SA'd her in late December of 2022 while she was working on a boat charter that had been sold as a wholesome family excursion, but turned into a hedonistic environment. The alleged A happened just days before Sean hosted a New Year's Eve yacht party with a long list of celebrity guests. Christian Combs is accused of SH, an infliction of emotional distress. In the lawsuit, Sean is being sued for premises liability as the person who chartered the yacht and for aiding and abetting his son in the alleged SA. Representatives for Christian and Sean did not immediately respond to comment Thursday night. Sean has denied all the recent allegations against him. But now the attorney for the accuser is saying, like father, like son. Tyrone Blackburn, who we're going to come back to in a minute, who represents Omar Kai, said Thursday night after the suit was filed, it gives us no joy or pleasure in filing the suit against Christian Combs, who has clearly adopted his father's pattern of practice of depravity. Now, we're going to get into more of the specifics, but right out the gate, Tyrone is using this as a public battle. This isn't some private thing they're trying to do through authorities. This is we're coming for you. We've warned you we're coming for you. It seems odd Diddy didn't settle it. At the same time, if it's false, that's why he wouldn't. But then why did Diddy settle with Cassie so much if that was also false is what we got to look at, guys. That's why this whole puzzle, all the puzzle pieces connect here. Now, in her suit, she alleges that Christian gave her substances and then SA'd her. She included transcriptions of audio clips that she states are evidence of her denying his advances as he gropes her. The suit states that the clips were recorded by a producer in the studio. Omar Kai, who was 25 at the time, alleged worked as a steward, providing dinner and drink services on the yacht from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and witnessed partying and drug use between constant rotation of suspected intimate workers. Celebrities, the suit states. She also alleges in the complaint that she suspected bottles of alcohol were laced with substances because women began to fall over themselves, panic, or pass out just after one drink. On December 28th, 2022, Omar Kai was informed that Christian Combs would be joining the party to record with music producer Rodney Little Rod Jones in the yacht's makeshift studio. Christian had been staying on a shore at a villa, but often joined his father in evenings, according to the suit. The woman's suit alleged that he arrived heavily intoxicated and then he paid an inappropriate amount of attention to her. Christian then pressured her to take shots of tequila that she believed, he brought on board, according to the suit. After she took the shot, she states in the lawsuit, he became aggressive, insisted she drink more. She became fearful and began to feel the effect of the tequila, which she quickly suspected had been spiked. The situation escalated as Christian groped her legs, other intimate parts. The suit details audio recordings in which it states Omar Kai can be heard declining alcohol, saying she had to leave, and telling Christian to stop touching her with what sounds like kissing noises in the background. The audio was recorded by Jones, the producer who was in the studio during the alleged incident, and who was alleged in his own lawsuit that he was required to record Sean Combs constantly and had hours of footage in which the music mogul and his staff allegedly engaged in criminal conduct. This is what's weird. So Rodney's in the studio recording this audio. I want to come back to that, Kim, as we sort of look at what are we hearing. And we don't have the lawsuit yet. Of course, they went to the press before it was actually publicly available for us all, which is sometimes a red flag, guys. I'm just reading you what they're saying. I'm not, obviously saying this happened. NBC News has heard 2 clips of audio transcribed in the suit purportedly for the night of December 28th, but has not verified who was recorded. Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs when I want to, she's heard saying in the recording, detailed the suit. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that. Listen, you and everybody in the crew, Christian allegedly replies, I can't. I have to go down. I have to go down. Christian then insists that Omar Kai stay with him, but she responds that she cannot unless he makes that request to a crew leader, the suit states, citing the audio recording. Omar Kai answers this is because she knew anyone of authority who could approve the request would also be asleep, and Christian would not be able to contact him, the suit states. Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now, Christian said. Well, you can take my hand off my ass for the first thing, she responded. She then attempted to resume her duties and finish her shift once he was able to leave the studio, the suit states. Christian allegedly found her a short time later and insisted she find him a place to sleep. She directed him to the yacht cinema, which was used as an extra sleeping area where he blocked her in, the suit states. He then allegedly began to this is when the SA began to happen. He was exposed, grabbed her, and tried to perform acts. There's photos of bruised forearms and alleged it was when Christian tried to grab her. She fought him off until someone else walked in. Since the attack, she has had mental health as well as professional and personal issues. Complained that the yacht captain the next day. She did complain to the yacht captain, but she did not believe her and failed to investigate. She alleges that the captain retaliated against her and she was terminated in May of 2023. Her mental health deteriorated. The woman had anxiety and panic attacks as well as severe suicidal ideations, and emotional strain affected her physical health and developed an eating disorder, epileptic seizures.
Oh my gosh.
She is seeking unspecified damages. I'm here to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, and I applaud Grace for being so brave to come forward with the truth, attorney Rodney S. Diggs said of his client. Hopefully her story will inspire others to come forward. Her suit is the first to accuse Christian, Diddy's son, otherwise known as King, since November. His father, Sean, obviously has been accused of SA by 4 other women, which he's denied. As we know, one of those is settled. No attorneys have responded yet, but that's what we have here. Now, the suit isn't available in the public yet, so I can't give you more than that. but that is the latest coming in. And I'm torn on this because obviously serious allegations, claims to be audio. I need to hear that ourselves. I feel like we need to hear sort of the context of things. But if it is as transcribed, it definitely isn't a good look. At the same time, I'm confused by the setting, Kim. They're in a studio. Rodney's watching. Was it he just left it on? Could this be Rodney and the woman trying to just gather evidence to try to get money from the Diddy family? There's a few scenarios that go in my head, so I don't know what to believe, honestly. But clearly serious allegations. What's your take?
I mean, I don't know, but I also look at like that clip we saw of Diddy earlier in this stream of him in his office. And if Rodney was recording things for him in his day-to-day life all the time, he would probably have a little mini studio that he would take with him in the sense because you need to have mics set up, you need to have your camera set up, you need to have where, all that type of thing happening. My guess is maybe that's what they mean with the studio, but I think we're going to need a bit more information, and I'm sure that information will come with the lawsuit because it does sound a little fuzzy at this point.
And what makes it fuzzier, in my opinion, is now that more is coming out against this lawyer, particularly. And I want to focus. There's a whole lawsuit now, or a judge grievance. It's long, but I want to focus on this 2-pager grievance report. This is from Diddy's camp. We, the council, defending as UMIC Recordings, Universal, and Sir Lucen Grange, in the connection with the telephone hearing, Your Honor has scheduled. We write to you to bring you Your Honor's attention of the order issued by Judge Coate yesterday. Now, Judge Coate previously held a case with Jones. With the attorney Blackburn. Yesterday, in the case of Zerzinski versus Fisher, copy which is attached. Judge Coate referred Mr. Blackburn to the grievance committee of the Southern District of York to address what she found to be a pattern of failing to comply with his Rule 11 obligations. And an observation particularly relevant to the offensively false and salacious accusations Mr. Blackburn leveled at our clients, only to abandon the accusations after attracting press attention, swapping them out for equally false allegations. Judge Coate specifically stated, a reasonable inference from Blackburn's pattern of behavior is that he improperly files cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly. Indeed, his submissions to this court have been rife with disturbing allegations against the defendants and defense counsel. And as lawyer John told me, like, she's upset. It's strong language from a judge to infer herself into another case and person to put it out there. As he's read, there's a whole document that's here, which we can go through in the live, that breaks down sort of even more. It's about a 15-page document of grievances and basically calling out Blackburn from Judge Denise Coate to sort of put out a warning, be careful. And so when I see this, Kim, it's hard to not be a little worried because look, we had this story a while back where a couple days ago, Steph pitched it to me and it was like, basically Blackburn was threatening, there's bad stuff coming about your kid, Diddy. It's coming. What are you going to do? I don't really like that publicly. It just seems more shakedowny, honestly. I got to be honest. And so then clearly Diddy didn't settle. Diddy didn't respond. And now we're getting this public NBC document even before it's publicly available. There are a lot of red flags here. This grievance committee thing is nothing to shake a stick at. And honestly, it's important I'll realize, and that's why I wanted to make sure this whole story was packaged together with all this, even if it made it longer, because there's a very strong likelihood that this is BS, that this lawyer is trying to exploit maybe some small things or big things I don't know. It could be all real, but there's also likely that there's not. This has been sloppy from Blackburn. And there's a version of things where this gets thrown out, but it doesn't mean that the other cases aren't still real. And this is why I wanted to bring it back to this as I end sort of our recap of things on this. And I'm going to go to you, Kim, and chat and share some more thoughts. But according to sources, the feds have not talked to Rodney Jones. And I think that's very telling. It almost is implying what I'm worrying, which is they don't necessarily believe him and Blackburn. Maybe he knows some stuff, or maybe he's alleging some stuff. Maybe he's implicit in stuff, and this is his way of getting out. I don't know. But they're talking to Cassie, they're talking to other women, and they're still doing a criminal investigation. So these are separate things, and I just don't want Diddy's camp to be able to use one bad apple to try to suddenly now say, see, we told you it was all crap and we told you he was innocent. That's where this case now falls the line. Now, does that mean his son's also innocent? I don't know. I don't know. It's sad his son's being dragged into this. However, if his son is following in his father's actions, which honestly, given the narratives we're getting through Cassie and others, I wouldn't be surprised, Kim, as sad as that is. But as of now, both of these men are innocent till proven guilty. This is a civil case that Rodney and this one are coming forward on. We're still waiting for those criminal charges, but that's what we got for it so far. All right, Beard Lawyer just called in. Beard Lawyer is representing me in the Netflix Johnny Depp doc and everything else, so he's a good dude. He's been helping us behind the scenes. I promise you, things are happening, but we're doing it politely and correctly. But I'm glad to have you here because I know you've been killing it on socials and YouTube. Beard Lawyer, look him up. Thank you for calling in from the car. This case is worrying me because we're now seeing Diddy's son get involved, but this lawyer, he's been filing sloppy stuff. He was threatening to bring the son into it in the press. There's grievance orders now coming out. Do these things worry you? There's now reports that the feds are not talking to the producer. They're only talking to Cassie and other women. Is there a version of this where we find out that the Rodney Jones case and the lawyer behind it were just trying to get a pay grab? Or do you think the sloppy filings and the grievance orders don't necessarily equate to they're not telling the truth?
Really good question. And lawyers love to play crystal ball. So I'm going to play crystal ball for a second. And what I'm going to say is the allegations against the plaintiff's lawyer for Jones, okay, Blackburn is his name.
Yeah.
The allegations with respect to what we call Rule 11 sanctions and Rule 11 misconduct is a big deal because, Diddy's lawyer has a lot of credibility in terms of the caliber of lawyer that he is. I don't know a lot about plaintiff's lawyer. And we all read the salacious 72, 73 page complaint with screenshots, extremely convincing, dropping receipts. I mean, we all had commentary about it. It is concerning when a federal judge in another case has said that you have a pattern of what we call Rule 11 conduct. And again, what that means is, lawyers are supposed to make a good faith attempt, and actually they have a duty to investigate the facts before they throw them out there, right? So Andy, hypothetically, if you were to walk into my office and say, I have this great case, I'm going to say, okay, well, before I say a word publicly about this, particularly in a lawsuit, bring me receipts, get me witnesses, let me talk to people. You do an investigation, right?
Right.
You don't just believe everything your client tells you and file a lawsuit. And the bigger deal here, which is a really strong narrative for P. Diddy, is that this was done for a media splash, right? That this was done to embarrass him, humiliate him, and bring him to his knees quickly and get a profound settlement, right? And we all know that Cassie's lawsuit settled the day after it was filed. So there's some precedents, right?
Right.
So it is concerning that much of what, and again, I can't make a quantitative decision, but I can tell you that it casts a lot of doubt on what we've read in this complaint, which again was pled with very, 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 very detailed factual allegations, right? The who, what, when, where, why, screenshots, the whole 9 yards.
Now, the audio clips that they're transcribing, that to me is something we didn't have before. It's big because it implies, he was recording things. At the same time, it's a little vague. Like they're in a studio. Is Rodney there? And the suit's not available for us to publicly look at. We're going off of what NBC has heard and read, and I don't always trust them. But if there's really audio tapes of her sort of saying no and stuff, does that help this case more than maybe Rodney's?
It definitely helps this case. Now, let me say something. The same lawyer can do a terrible job in one case and can do an amazing job in another case because cases are factually driven, right? Regardless of who the lawyer is, the fact that the lawyer may not have done a great job in another case doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to win or prevail in another case. Now, these allegations are closely related, right? Because P. Diddy has a pretty big rap sheet as far as we're concerned. And we published a timeline, by the way. I did a timeline. It's on some of my social, my Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. There are allegations going back to 1991 against P. Diddy. I mean, he's not exactly the cleanest guy. You know what I'm saying? So P. Diddy is not the innocent actor. The question's going to be, can they meet their burden of proof and show a jury, if it gets there, that more likely than not, which is not probable, it's not beyond a reasonable doubt, civil court, the 51% likelihood that P. Diddy committed the acts alleged in the civil complaint. That's the question. And it's too early to say, man. It's too early to say.
Yeah. So, but that's what makes this all complicated. That's what's interesting, because there's a version of this where Diddy's going to clearly try to play like, see guys, this Rodney case was bad. So it's all bad. But the reality is there, and it seems like sources coming in, feds don't want to do it with Rodney's case. And I imagine for you, that's pretty damning. If that's true, right? This is damning. It implies they didn't need that. They had enough off of Cassie and potentially other women to bring this down, right?
That's exactly right. The feds, look, if the feds are saying we don't need to, we don't want to, it says a lot, because they moved extremely swiftly for a federal investigation standpoint, lightning fast, right? In raiding both of his homes, gathering electronic evidence. So it's hard to take away and glean what the feds are thinking. If they're like, we don't need to talk to these people right now, okay, they must be sitting on a mountain of evidence then. They're certainly not dropping their investigation, right?
On Popcorn Planet. Guys, Diddygate was crazy. We had BJ show up way down the rabbit hole. We had It's Kim, Lewis. My God, it was a party. If you want to watch the full show, become a member. Hit that join button here, but also do it over on our Patreon. That's the best way to subscribe to the channel. You'll be giving us more. YouTube takes too much. Become a Patreon today. Watch the full shows there. Appreciate all your faces. Go support BJ, that surprise witness. It's Kim. Down the rabbit hole news. Lewis and Nerd Report and everybody else. You guys are the best. We got you covered on Diddygate. We got so much more coming. Stay tuned. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Bye!